Hey folks, I'm in the middle of Napa Valley here. Just wanted to give you my impressions so far after the first 1,000-some miles on my road glide, 2019. I'm not going to go over the specs. You've probably gotten that off of every other reputable channel. I just want to talk a little bit about how much I like the bike and my experiences, because you're probably thinking about getting one yourself. So it has the 114 motor in it. I traded in a Indian 2016 Springfield for this, and I love that bike. As a matter of fact, the motor on that bike is amazing, and it's real on the Indian. I will be talking about the Indian a lot here, so just for comparison. But the Indian's motor is really smooth and a little more torquey, not as much horsepower as this guy. And I'd bet if I looked at the specs, this would have a little bit more power, a lot more power than that. But that Indian is by no means short on power. And the Indian's a little bit more linear power and a little bit more forgiving. This is a little more snappy, and I'm not complaining about either. But I had a Springfield, and I wanted a bike with more wind protection. And the Springfield is plenty of wind protection. It's like a Road King. I love a Road King. And it has plenty of wind protection, but I want even more. I mean, I don't like the wind at all. So I had, even like engine guard chaps on there and stuff like that, larger windscreen. And I just still like it completely mellow behind the windshield. I like to be able to read the Sunday paper behind that windscreen there on the way to work on a Monday morning. And you're thinking to yourself, what are you, crazy? Reading the Sunday paper on a Monday morning? Just kidding. So anyways, but I like all the wind protection. Plus I wanted a radio. So when I went to trade in, I thought I tried their big touring cruiser. Oh God, I can't think of the name of it. Anyways, so, and I love that. I love the Indian's competitor to this. But I thought, well, I'm going to try I want to see this Milwaukee 8. So either one I think you'll be satisfied with. They're about the same price, give or take. The Indian has a few more features on it. Creature comforts like heated grips and heated seat. And the seat on the Indian is like $1 million seat. That's a comfortable seat, but it's not the most attractive looking seat. So, but God, that seat is uncomfortable. I just love sitting in it. Even when I just love getting in that damn thing and just squishing down. It's perfect for me. I'm 5'8" with a 31-inch inseam. Anyways, let's walk around this bike here just a little bit. Not too much. That gets kind of annoying when you're kept walking around. So, I know you're probably wanting one of these really badly, and go for it. I mean, they're just so amazing. Here we go into the sun. Let's take a little look up here in Napa. How pretty it is up here. But anyways, this motor has so much power to it. It's just so smooth. I get on the bike. I'm still not over how amazing the bike is. I like all sorts of bikes. I like Triumphs and Indians and Ducati, Moto Guzzi I've owned, and Kawasaki I love. Kawasaki can do no wrong in my book. But when it comes to cruisers, man, stick to either Indian or Harley. I'm sorry, unless you want to get one of those newer road, kind of like a Yamaha, kind of something that competes with the Goldwing. Those new ones look really great, but those are amazing. But these are just so comfortable, and I'm really just kind of just bullshitting about the bike here. Nothing really important to say. Let's talk about some of the stuff you're gonna like. This is a great, and I have a navigation system in my Ford Escape, which is newer, and I think that's good. But this is even nicer than that. And I know you're thinking, well, how about it? What if I get a boy, I can't speak now. Once the video's rolling, I can't think of anything. not the Road Glide, the Batwing. Okay, the Batwing one. God, I can't even think of that. I can't believe it. But if you think about the Batwing, because it's closer and the controls are... When I used to own a Batwing a long time ago, and I thought that's what I would get. And I got on it, and I realized it's just way too... After I tried this is just open, and there's so much room back here, and it's not a problem to reach in and point and stab. It's really not. So the Batwing was too confined. I didn't like the fact that the wing was attached to the forks. That wasn't a problem before, but it just bugged me now. So the other thing was, I do like the Harley shake, and I'm like, so I get on like a 103, a little older model, and I thought, man, if they took away the shake, what's the point, you know? And then I got on, and I'm used to the Indian, which shakes about as much as this, which is really nothing. And I get on the bike, and it's shaking, and I'm like, I don't find that appealing anymore. And I used to love that. This shakes the perfect amount. But anyways, I'm digressing here. So this navigation is great, really sophisticated, really premium. Just the way it looks and the way it handles, and pushing it even with gloves on, just stabbing at it is real easy. It's today it's giving me trouble, but I think I did something wrong. I haven't even really delved into this. But you know, I like that, and it's not too far away from you. Plenty of room out here just to kind of enjoy the space. And great, these babies flip in. Here we go. Boom. Oh no, that's for that. Look at me. Look at me. I don't even... Oh yeah, you go in here. That's right. You push and you close that. What I usually do, like these vents here, I like because it really protects from the wind. You can close those vents when it gets too cold. I like to close them on the left side if I'm making a left turn, and it really helps me coast into the turn better. Just kidding. No, but but the great thing about this fairing is the amount of wind that comes through here is perfect. It's the perfect amount of wind. It's like it blocks it out, but it comes in at around a 20-mile-per-hour gust. And it's just like, oh my God, it's so luxurious. I've never closed these yet. I've been riding in the heat a lot though. So maybe I will when it gets cold. I mean, just the most luxurious bike in the entire world. I've had a passenger on it. My girlfriend gets on the back, and oh my God, she loves it. She had never been on a bike before. She'd never been to California. She comes out here and is like, yeah, let's go. I went cruising all around San Francisco with her, all around Napa Valley. And man, she was like totally loving it. Well, how spoiled is that? On Pacific Coast Highway, over the Golden Gate Bridge. So on a bike, man, you can't get better than that. So all right, let's bullshit some more here. Great wind protection. Oh my God. So one thing I like is I did want a radio, and the thing is, I don't even listen to the radio on this or anything. I use the navigation system a lot, the GPS, and when I had my Ultra Glide a long time ago, it had a radio on it, and I thought that'd be great, and a CD player, and I never once listened to it, and I just never turned it on. I just liked the hum of the road, and then I lent it to a friend, and I went on his bike, and we're riding all around, and we pull up to the light, and he's blaring the music, and I'm like, wow, that sounds pretty good. I can't believe he is using the radio. And so but I just still don't use it, you know. And how good's the radio now? Like when you listen to the radio, it's either really kind of hysterical talking heads going crazy on the AM radio, or tons and tons of commercials, one after another. So it's really, listening to the radio is not really where I want to be with that. But I'm sure it can do other stuff. I'm sure at some point I'll put Bluetooth up to it. I do want to explore this with a passenger. It has one for them too in the back, so I can talk to them. Cool beans, man. One of the things is how this clutch is really cool. It's really, really snappy, springy, but it doesn't hurt your hand. I'm in traffic a lot, and I split lanes every day for work. And I've split lanes with a passenger on the back here. And it's not easy to split lanes. It's kind of, you know, you're riding the clutch, you're like, wow, wow, and going from first gear to second gear, the third down to first or second, and it's kind of taxing, but it beats sitting in traffic. But it is kind of a pain in the ass, but it beats sitting in traffic. This clutch is really nice, and what the cool thing about it is, I don't know what they did to it, but when you shift gears, you hear it. I love how Harley shift had that clunk, clunk. That really has a nice feel to it. You can feel it in the clutch. It feels like someone took a wrench and tapped pretty hard on the forks. Every time you shift, you can feel it right here. It's like just, and it's neat. It's a neat little click. Almost like maybe a dry clutch or something like that. But it's just really, I really like that. It just kind of gives it a kind of a European bike feel to it. One thing, this bike is so damn powerful and snappy that there's been times when I'm going into a turn and I'm, you know, clutching and I'm in first gear. I'm got, you know, the whole thing where you're coming into the turn, and then you hit a bump in the turn, and it's really powerful. So maybe your throttle, you give accidentally a little bit of a twist, and then you accidentally, because of the bump, let out on the clutch a little. So now you've engaged, and boom! There's been a couple times that I'm almost just sent that baby into the curb, you know. So I'm extra careful. I get a good grip on the clutch coming into a turn. And I'm just a little more careful because a couple times I almost got burned. But oh my God, do I love this bike. I just sit there and I'm like on the bike, like, this is too amazing. Like, it's just such an amazing bike. And I've ridden every damn kind of bike, from adventure to sport. I don't like sport bikes very much. I think adventure bikes are boring, but they're great commuters. And I love a cafe bike. But ultimately, I'm a bagger guy, and this is probably a little too big for me. But I like a big fat bike that I go slow. I just hang out on the middle lane and just move along and just wave at everybody. And hell yeah, man! Here we go. And so lane splitting. You're like, what's it like to lane split on a Harley and a big fatty like this? By the way, I know my bike's pretty damn well. What happened is I think I had too much caffeine at that damn cafe back there, and I can't think of anything now. But what's it like to split lanes on a big guy like this with a passenger? And it's pretty easy. It's just where it gets really tough is when you're splitting between a pickup truck on your left and a semi on the right, and they're doing the right thing. They're hanging out in their lane. It's just there's not enough room, and you got to really. And stopping and grabbing yourself if you have to stop because the mirrors are too close to you is pretty scary. And the thing is, with splitting out here, this is not exaggeration, 7 to 8 times out of 10, the car will see you coming and they kind of veer, especially in the left lane, they'll veer about a foot out of the way for you. And they're like letting you through. And I always thought they'd be like, you know, they'd be resistant to you coming through and like, screw you, I'm not moving over. But more often than not, they're moving out of the way and they're getting out of your way. It's great. The most dangerous, I think, part about splitting is other motorcycles. When you have to get into that lane initially, maybe traffic's moving at 5 miles per hour, you want to jump in. There could be a motorcycle coming by at 30, which is probably a little too fast, but I usually go about 20, 25 when I'm splitting, and everyone else in the cars are going 5 miles per hour. But I've seen people come through at 40. So you got to really look at your mirrors before you jump into the lane. And once you're in the lane, you should stay in that lane and just, you know, it gets hot in that lane, man. Your bike is like on fire. I had a Ducati, and it was like your nuts were completely on fire. I would sometimes just want to get out of that lane and just, oh my God, get me off this thing. Speaking of that, this bike does get a little on the hot side. Now my Indian gets hot too. The Indian gets hot right around that upper pipe area. and it's like it's really hot there, and then the rest of the bike is fine. This bike is almost as hot pound for pound, but it's hot on both sides all over, and it's just coming up into you get a little bit more hot all over. With the Indians, you're just hot in the leg, the right leg. So I don't know what's better. The Indian, you get a little bit almost too hot in that leg, but don't let that scare you, because a freaking Triumph Tiger I've been riding for another commuter, hotter than a damn, I mean, your crotch, I'm sorry to say, is on fire. Well, back storage, amazing. I'll leave more later once I ride this thing around, but dudes, so happy to be back on a Harley. I know you're looking forward to one of these. Consider this this shark wing. I was never into one. I thought they were silly, but now I'd never go back. And God, I'll think of more stuff on the way home, but rock and roll.